Let's get real. Who does this? Who would so easily kill people like that? What's wrong with this ideology? If it is just extremism, then why don't we see other extremists also do this? It has to be something in the religion. Religion, I mean, let's say they are extremists, but still we don't see the same thing from other extremists. So still this religion has to be more violent. So extremists of this religion will be more violent than the extremists of other religion. Who does this, dude? Someone so casually kills a group of people there, innocent people, so easily finds a reason to kill people. Isn't this something concerning? Who does this? How can this happen so oftenly? Why? I mean, when you call them extremists, these things doesn't go away. How can this happen this often? How can they find reasons to be this violent so easily? Yeah, even just by looking at this, we conclude that yes, this religion must be more violent. But also, when we actually look at this, forget about this white liberals say and actually look at this religion, yes, this is what this religion preaches. When we look at the reality, majority of Muslims share these ideas. Majority of Muslims think that, yeah, you should, dominate. They openly say these things, right? We always see, yeah, Islam is not here to coexist. We will dominate, we will take over. How does someone find reasons to be this violent this easily? There are some people there, they always happen to be Muslim. Muslims other than them are completely normal. This is what we are supposed to believe. No, of course there must be a correlation. Of course there must be something coherent. If this many people can find reasons to be this violent this easily, then it must be correlated. A little less amount of violent people, approves this but doesn't practice. The amount of them, the rate of them must also be higher than the other ideologies. People who, preach these things, for example, preach these things, approve these things, help those people, or try and fail, or, plan to do this in the future. Their rate will also be proportionately higher than another ideology. This is how it works. How can you just treat this as, yes, a few people so easily find reasons to kill people, but even though how many religious authorities, mosques, how many Muslims preach these things, openly declare they approve these things, still we are 100% sure that the rest of the population, a few people who actually killed people, rest of the Muslims won't do anything like this, won't share any of his ideas. How can we act like this? How can we act like this? Is this realistic? Is this any way near to the reality? Stop kidding yourselves. We are done. We are sick of these lies. We are done from this suffering. We had enough. We suffered enough. Our lives is more important than other people's feelings. When you do generalization, you don't take any action even with a person who literally openly preaches, we will dominate. Yeah, the terror attacks, yeah, it is justified. We are doing jihad. We saw a person who randomly stabbed preschoolers. How can you just say that, yeah, he is just extremist and then move on? How can you not question what in this religion leads a person to this? Maybe it will happen again. Let's even assume that he understood this wrong. He understood his religion wrong. Still, Isn't this enough hurt? Isn't this enough harm to get deeper about this? If he so easily, if he this easily concludes this, does this, there must be other people who agrees with him. You think like this in other cases. You think like this, you treat like this about racism, about Islamophobia. You attack right-wing people doing all these things and justify your actions with this mentality. But when it comes to Islam, no matter how much harm there are, immediately your moral code changes. Just we should be an absolute individualist. No matter how much harm, there can be just one Muslim, one peaceful Muslim, and the rest of the Muslim population, let them be violent. Still, we cannot do generalization. Instantly, your attitude changes to this. It is ridiculous. Obviously, you care about one and you don't care about the other. The feelings of a Muslim. When you do generalization to a Muslim, someone who still, think that they should take over, but didn't literally kill people. You are concerned about even doing generalization to that person who believes in Sharia, who believe in, dominating and taking over your rights, preaches this violence. Still, if they didn't kill people, then you shouldn't do generalization. You are even concerned about that. You are even concerned about doing generalization to that person. You don't think that when you don't do anything about those people, this means your code here, your rule here is that someone's feelings, a Muslim who actually has extremist ideas, even that person's feelings, when you do generalization to them, is more important than some innocent people's lives. This is what you're saying. This is your rule. So do you understand this narcissism? People shouldn't think about their lives. People should think about their feelings, even when their lives are in threat. They should still be concerned about your feeling. When it comes to you doing generalization, it is okay, even though there is no harm like Muslims cause. It will only, some people will insult you at best. And you can do generalization. You can assume people who won't do this can do this. So, be more cautious. They will, they should be punished. But they should, but they should think about your feelings, even though people just randomly getting killed. You see still these people mentality with people who shares the same mentality with this terrorist still out there. You see these people are still coming into your country. You see their teachings, everything with it literally preaches these things. You see these people openly preach these things. For example, majority of mosques in the Europe, they preach these violent things, terrorist stuff. They openly preach these things. We know this, and you don't take action. You even with them. Do you see how crazy this is? You don't take action even with people who literally preach these things. If you don't take action for this, then why do you feel the need to take action with, someone does some racist comment? Even with terrorists, you just say, oh, okay. Even with all those things, there are so many more people out there shares the same ideas. You still just say, oh, that is extremist and move on. But why don't you do the same thing that obviously, objectively can cause much less harm? This is a hypocrisy. When it comes to someone you don't like, it is immediately okay to do generalization and be intolerant to them because it can cause harm, And then no matter how mainstream in a group of these harmful ideas in a group of people, we have all the evidence about it, still we should, be concerned about not doing generalization. This is a hypocrisy, okay? No one buys it anymore. Enough with this bullshit. Enough with this bullshit. We had enough. We suffered enough. We see these things so often. When you have this much pattern, you would definitely go deeper. Okay? So there is a bias here. You're not objective. You're not objectively, oh, just don't do generalization. No. If you do this much pattern, this much correlation, you get to the bottom of it. That's it. It is crazy. There are people out there. There are people out there who are concerned about Islamophobia. There are real people who are out there thinking about, oh, you should, call Islamophobia support lines if someone does you Islamophobia. Because of this, people are killed. People died. Your life is threatened. You saw this many people still there preaching these things. And still you don't have a right to, maybe someone close to you died. Maybe you were there. Still, you don't have any right to, be some emotional and say something Islamophobic. It's always about them. Can you understand how narcissistic this is? If something like this happened in any other case by any other group, you would take more action. You would do more generalization. You wouldn't think, oh, are all people like this? Oh, are people literally died for no reason, randomly? You see, this is not that fringe idea in those people. You see that. Would you really only say, oh, that is just the extremist and just move on? You would never do this, okay? You would never do this, only when it comes to Islam. In any other case, this kind of violence, this much violence are caused by some group, some ideologic group, for example, a group of people of some ideology. You would never do this. You would never be so careless. In order to save lives, you would easily get deeper, dig deeper, wouldn't care about, oh, don't do generalization. People would get hurt. Only when it comes to Islam, this is your concern. Only when it comes to Islam, no matter how much violence we see, you only care about, the first thing you guys think about is Islamophobia. Do Muslims feel bad? Do anyone, discriminate against them? We shouldn't. Immediately, the first thing they think about is, okay, how do we explain to people that this is just a fringe group, this is just an extremist, so people wouldn't panic, people wouldn't discriminate against Muslims? First thing you guys think, this is crazy, okay? You would never do this with this in any other case. This much violence. You would immediately take action about that group, about people who identify themselves with this kind of ideology. Okay? You would immediately take action, do generalization, judge people because of that belief, that ideology, because you are trying to save lives. People can die again. Innocent people can die randomly again. You would always do this. This is the reality. When it comes to Islam, all these things, all these purely evil things gets a free pass.